Hello and welcome to the Pixelated Realms Gamescast, your guide through the digital landscape, untangling the mysteries of your favorite titles and discussing the latest and greatest in video game fun. I'm your host, Alex Salerno, and alongside me is my brother Tyler and my good friend Dustin.
Hello,
hello.
Welcome back. Welcome back for another episode of Pixelated Realms.
Yeah, really cross our fingers that the audio sounds good this time. I apologize immensely for the absolute dog shit audio quality from last time. And the problem is in the app that we use. We use a remote recording application. And it's just been giving us so much freaking trouble. We're searching for a new one, to be honest, because this one has given us so much trouble. So hopefully this episode comes out sounding good. We are trying to do our best. Actually, I should record like locally.
Roy did it.
Yeah, it's Roy's fault. But okay, that aside, we apologize for that. But we're going to talk about a little bit Diablo 4 today, some Destiny, some Thieves, and we're going to try and, throw out our predictions for the Nintendo Direct that's supposed to be tomorrow. Or it'll actually have happened by the time this comes out, I believe. Maybe not. Yeah. And so we can, when you listen, you can tell us if we were right or not. So, all right, we probably should have done this last episode, but we had so many interesting things to talk about then.
They only announced that Nintendo Direct like yesterday, so don't feel bad.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah. Quick turnaround. All right.
I got this really cool pen, guys. You see this pen? Check this out.
Really? Is sword?
It's
a Batman.
Oh, it's a Batman symbol. That's cool.
Fucking light up bat logo. The bat.
I like that.
And stuff.
That is pretty neat. So, like whenever you need the Cape Crusader to come and help you fight crime.
It's like instead of like walking around with pepper spray, you just walk around with that. I don't know. If
I'll use it like when my wife sees it, she'll know that I need her to take the kids.
Just hold on.
Yeah. Wait 2 to 3 minutes, and you're gonna be in trouble.
You're gonna. I mean, I don't know if he's in the city right now, but give me some time.
He's on a business trip. Just hold on.
Fucked.
Don't beat the shit out of me. Yeah, cool.
I guess,
new season.
I guess I'll start then. Or do you want to start?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You can start. All right, I'll start.
Rock, paper, scissors.
No, I was just going to talk about Sea of Thieves a little bit. And it's kind of like a sad conversation about Sea of Thieves because, I don't know, like when we were playing the other day, and like even the last couple times we've played where we didn't have like new content or like a real goal. I don't know, man. Like I haven't really enjoyed it very much. Yeah, like it's just like, I don't know, like I just haven't really enjoyed it. It's just been like, we're here and we're sailing around, but it's just like.
It's because we've done that for a long. We probably have like 100 hours of us just like finding loot and turning it in and doing that over and over and over again. And then they came out with all those cool tall tales, and we got spoiled and used to it. And we're like used to doing these missions, and now going back to the just like endless plunder is like super boring.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, Ashen Skeleton. It's like, whatever, Ashen Skeleton. And like I knew we were gonna get rolled when we ran into like that random guy with a Reaper flag on. We haven't played in like a few months, but like still, I don't know, man. It wasn't doing very much for me the other night, and it just makes me sad because I've enjoyed that game so much. We have like easily 100 plus hours and probably like 200 plus hours in that game. And it's just like, I never really wanted to get to a point where it wasn't that fun, but I think I'm there. So I have to wait for the next Telltale.
Yeah. I mean,
got to give it some space, give it some time.
Not a lot of games have, the longevity of something like WoW, you know what I mean? Like most games are designed to have a limited number of hours played in them. And, it's kind of an unrealistic expectation I think we as gamers have a lot of the time of like, you need to entertain me all the time.
Yeah, if I can't put 1,000 hours into this, it is a waste of $15.
I cannot believe I spent $20 on this game, you pieces of shit. How dare you? Like it's absolutely ridiculous and total horseshit.
Fix this bug. What game? League of Legends? Oh, you don't pay for that? Okay. It's like
I still think the Hellblade 2 is too short though, even though I haven't played it. I don't expect to get hundreds of hours.
It's so
I do
beautiful.
think 5 is too short.
I don't know. For a game that I play for free on Game Pass, I think it's fine.
It's not free, but it's $15.
Yeah, but I also am playing 1,000, like a bunch of games on it too. So it's like already The
I
thing
mean,
is,
when you watch a movie on Netflix, you're like, oh, that was free because I also watched this other thing on Netflix.
Kinda. Like,
I mean,
kinda. It kind of feels free.
it didn't.
Like,
I
was
guess
gonna
if
pay
you're
for
like
15
subscribing
bucks.
to Netflix strictly for like one show. Like right now, I almost have Netflix just because One Piece is on there, and I don't have to double up on Crunchyroll.
I was about to say, then just get Crunchyroll.
Well, like my kid watches like Peppa, and then like Yenny uses it. Like I
so
really
there
only
is some
care.
freebies in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it does get extra use, but I mean the only show that I like watch religiously on there, like for season wise, is One Piece right now, and so yeah, I guess, but that's like girl math. I don't know if you guys have seen those memes about girl math,
Yeah,
but that's like girl
math.
math.
This is gamer math. Well, to me, this is kind of like a tangent from Sea of Thieves, but I play Sea of Thieves, on Game Pass, and so it's like to me, if I were to play, what is it? It's like $15 a month or something like that. So it turns out to be like almost like around $120 a year or more, right? It's like $150 or something like that. Roughly, very loose math here, but roughly 2 full games. If I get 2 $70 games worth of
It's like 180
per year. Okay, so maybe 3 then. If you get 3 games,
$3 $60 games.
3 $60 games, that's already been paid for. And then everything else is just like, extra.
Well, for me, it's like my testing ground. It's like my rental place, right? It's like if I had a subscription to the rental store and then I could play them, and then if I really like them, I usually just buy them because I want to support the studio.
Yeah.
So that's what it is for me nowadays.
When I canceled my Xbox Game Pass, Sea of Thieves was on sale, I think, for $30 or $25. I just bought it. So
yeah. Well, if you've put more than like 20 to 40 hours into a game, I feel like you should just purchase it. Like,
yeah, I mean, I've got my money's worth out of Sea of Thieves. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, for sure.
But I just want
to
get
the
more.
Means to purchase it, of course.
or
I know. Not because I'm greedy,
it's like,
but just
speaking
I
of
really
Xbox Pass, I downloaded Hi-Fi Rush the other day just because I wanted to try it out, and it's really quite amazing. I'm even just like being like an hour in, I'm pretty amazed the studio was shut down.
Too bad you can't support that studio, right?
Right, exactly.
I know.
And also, I gotta say, as someone who has a degree in music and plays instruments, I still don't like beat-based games like combat. I just don't. I love like Guitar Hero, like that's a different thing. But when you're telling me I have to slash my sword to a specific rhythm, I hate games that do that. I really do. I just hate it. I hate it.
Yeah. It's like very gimmicky.
It's a different mindset. Like when I'm playing a video game, I'm like, all right, I need to optimize my slashes as much as possible. But then they're like, well, wait, you got to be on the beat, and I was like, shit, it's like, it's just
I can't min-max to the beat.
Yeah, it's just parts of my brain that don't want to work together.
That's fair.
Yeah. Oh, rest in peace, Sea of Thieves. Well, hopefully the new content update is brings some joy back to you because they're doing that new ship, that new Reaper stuff. I'm assuming there's
like
new
Tall Tale.
coins,
by the way, when we played the other day because I bought a bunch of ship stuff.
You actually spent your money.
Yeah,
he's been hoarding his money like literally the entire time we've ever played and never buys anything.
Yeah.
Wait, what's there to buy?
Cosmetics.
Yeah, cosmetics.
Usually pretty shitty.
I finally bought some cosmetics with my money.
Not even.
That's why I never play that game. There's no true progression. Like I need to feel like I'm better than the person who started day one.
What about Skull and Bones? How did that go?
Well, yeah, I'll go back to it in a little bit of time.
Will you though? That game was pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing: this is one of those games where it's like a weird argument between being a good game and being like a fun game. Like I still played 50 hours of that game and I had fun doing it. Is it a good game? No.
I would rate it low on a point score. I mean,
would too.
I play plenty of games that are like shit. And just because you're like kind of already started it and you're like slightly invested just enough and you're like, hey, it gives me just enough dopamine and I don't really have anything else to play, so this'll do. That doesn't make it a good game.
I don't know. I think games can be. I think you can make an excellent game and it can not be fun. I think I've played a lot of those in the last 5 years.
Oh yeah.
But you could also make a really bad game and it can be a little bit fun. You know.
Is
Yeah.
a 5 average for you guys, or is a 7 average for you guys? And a score.
To me, I think I tend to lean more towards the grading. So it's like a 7 would be like good job.
Yeah, a 5 for me
8,
is like
yeah.
it fucking sucked.
Yeah, you haven't really done a good. A 5 is like it's like a template in a game making engine. You know what I mean? Like that's what a 5 is to me. I don't know. It's just like something really mediocre.
Roy's
and
the
simple.
opposite. Roy thinks like if he sees like a game that's rated like a 6, he's like, no, it's above average. I'm like, no, dude, you're crazy. Like 6 people get fired.
No, 5 isn't average for me.
Yeah, 7 is an average in like the IGN scale and most like other point-based scales.
And
Like
don't get me
7, I
wrong,
think is
I
like
recognize
good, right?
I recognize like 2, 3, and 4 become like meaningless basically, but whatever.
Yeah,
Well,
it
you
is
know,
kind of
if
a
you get
tough
a 2,
because
3, and
you might as
4,
well do like a
you're just
1
getting
through 5.
completely
Right?
boned.
I mean,
Yeah.
if it's anything under like 5, you're pretty much boned.
Yeah.
I think the expectation is that like if you're making a professional product, you should be above the like middle tier, right?
Yeah.
The middle tier is like amateur average,
Right.
And then if you're like, okay, I'm a professional video game developer, we should at least be making a 7, which is like something people want, as opposed to just something that exists.
And usually most games have like 3 or 4 things that are glaringly bad, but like there's still plenty of things that are good. Like, is the soundtrack music? Yes. You know, it's like, is it, does the game start? You know, I mean, like, so I get it, you know, like,
Yeah.
but that being said, like, I'm totally willing to give game 10 out of 10 if I feel like it is like taken that genre and like exceeded it, you know, like I'm comfortable with it. I probably have 1 or 2 10 out of 10s like a year, like on a good year.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there are plenty of games that I would think have a 10 out of 10 that I could pick out flaws, but those flaws are so minuscule to the experience of the game that it's still like perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I was really curious
Play
right
the
now.
game matters.
So I looked it up right now on IGN. You can actually filter by score. And
Interesting.
So I was like, okay, how many games have actually got like a 1? There's actually quite a bit of games they give a 1 to, and I was like, wow,
Really?
I can't believe there's this many. Well, okay, actually, I take that back.
All right, name a few.
In 2023, there was 1 game. The day before.
Oh.
It
We
got a
reviewed
1.
that one.
That one
Yeah.
was famously bad, though.
Yeah.
We
That was-
reviewed it, not even having to play it.
The scamware that it was.
Before that, there wasn't a 1 or between a 1 or a 2 until 2015, a Rugby World Cup,
Wow.
2015.
Whoa.
And then Self-Defense Training Camp in November 22nd, 2011.
That sounds like garbage.
Got a
That
1.
sounds so bad.
Could you imagine
Um,
not being like some like amateur solo developer and getting a 1 on your game? Like I could get it if it was just like some random person and they're just throwing their shot out there and it's just like, you know, not enough time was put into it. But imagine being like a legit studio.
Yeah, like an actual game
There's some
studio
right
that's
here,
putting
like
out
The
a product.
Walking Dead, Destiny's Review. That must be a Skybound game, 2. FIFA
It's not
23
the
Legacy
Telltales one, is
Edition.
it?
I'm not sure, but everything Walking Dead is Skybound. FIFA 23 Legacy Edition, a 2.
I wonder why. Because of the
Interesting.
pay to win
A lot of
stuff.
those sports games.
The Switch ports for FIFA always get like rated really poorly. Nerf Legends, yeah, there's some
Okay, if we're doing Switch ports, then yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of 1s and 2s.
South Park Snow Day got a 3.
Yeah, people
What-
have really not been
What
liking
game
that
would you
game.
guys give a 4 or less? Think of a
Oh
game.
my
I could think of
God.
one. I could think of a really strong one. One that I have sadly paid for and regretted every single day.
Oh yeah, Starfield.
No, actually, no, not but close. But no. I would give it more than a 4.
I'd give it like a 5. That's like a good 5.
I think I would give it a 6. Which is to me is like an okay. Like you got an okay.
Wait,
I
what
don't know,
score
that's
are we
a
talking
hard
about?
Question.
4 or less.
I'd
Like, really
probably
bad.
give The Forest a 4 or less. I don't
What?
really
We
like
played the
the
shit
forest.
out of that game.
You guys
I
played
have
the
like
shit out of that
100
game.
hours in the forest. I love that
I
game.
No, we never
don't
played-
really like it.
We never played the second
You're
one.
okay. Well, you're objective. You're just wrong.
You're just wrong.
I don't know.
That game was
I don't
awesome.
like survival games though,
Yeah.
so it's like not really for me. I'm
I mean,
kinda
I would say like a
curious.
lot of Game Boy games were like 4 less than 5s for me. Having like been messing around with my little like Game Boy emulator that I got, yeah, I mean they're just like garbage, right? Like they're just like they're so impossible to understand. Like the controls don't make any sense. The gameplay doesn't make any sense. Like a lot
Yeah.
of those games are like for me like the 2s, 3s, and 4s, and like you know a lot of those games like that are like aren't as common, or at least don't get the publicity nowadays. So
Yeah.
you know, in the 90s and 2000s, like people were just throwing anything they could to make money from this Game Boy trend that was happening.
Yeah. I think I have 2 actually. I think Star Citizen. That one I cannot believe I bought. Awful game. It's a fucking scam. It's the one that has like you buy ships for like real money.
No.
And it's like
I know what
$10,000.
Star Citizen is, but like, how much money did you give them?
I bought like a $30 starter set,
Oh,
but it
that's
was
not
just
that bad.
the game is just god fucking awful, and there's players still in it, and like they'll help you and chat with you and stuff like that. And honestly, they're all just holding on to hope, and it's just sad to see.
It is
With that one,
sad,
and I would
but
say Escape
I
from
hope it
Tarkov.
succeeds.
Escape from Tarkov as well.
interesting.
That game is god awful in my opinion. As someone who enjoys games like that, that game is just so fucking unplayable because of like I'm not gonna go too. I don't know.
I
but
have
it's
a
just bad.
really good one in the theme of pirate games that we've already been talking about. This is a game that was attached to the same developers as Ark Survival Evolved, but I don't think it is any longer. It is called Atlas. It was released December 22nd, 2018, and it was supposed to be Ark Survival Evolved, but pirates. And it's a survival game where you go and you cut down the trees and you build up your barge and you go make friends. It's like that real RPG pirate. And I was like a day one on this one. I loved Ark Survival Evolved, even in it with its flaws. And so I was like, pirates, Ark Survival Evolved, like this looks bad, but like it's got to have a little bit of fun in there. So I log on, and I imagine I had quite a bit of difficulty logging on, but it was the worst gaming experience I've ever seen in my life. I mean, you're basically just spawning onto this crappy template island. Nothing worked. None of the NPCs functioned properly. You couldn't build a ship. You couldn't communicate with people. Servers went down. The optimization was terrible. I mean, it was like an immediate like refund, like, you know. So it was really, really bad. I have 9 hours on record. I literally do not remember playing any of the game. I literally don't. That's how
half of that is just you sitting in the menu.
So yeah, I mean, the last update they did was last year, so I imagine they finally gave up after a while.
I actually
2 out of
worked
10.
on this game, but it's called
Atlas?
SOS. No.
Oh,
This game called
Atlas,
SOS.
what have you done?
It was a survival battle royale game where like you get dropped on an island, and like you have to like there's like aliens or like native creatures that you have to like survive and collect like an item. And it was like the last team to collect the item and then escape the island via helicopter. So you're fighting like other teams, but also fighting like these fucking NPCs. That game was pretty bad. It didn't. It didn't last very long.
Well, let's talk about a good game, or at least good now. Diablo 4. What's your opinion on that?
I've been playing it. So I got into season 4, which I'm glad I did because I keep liking Diablo. It was a little bit tough to get in. You kind of have to like sit there and like grind through it. And like I was sitting there like, why am I doing this again? And then I kept playing and I kept getting gear and I was like optimizing a little more. And I was like, oh, okay, there's the fun. Like I'm like getting there. My character's fun and developing. So Yeah, I mean, like, not a ton has changed, but at least there's, like the systems they did change with the loot seem to be effective so far. I like the tempering system, which is basically just allowing you to like change how your stats, affixes on your
Hmm.
equipment. So I don't know. There's a lot there, but and I'm enjoying it, but I still got a feeling like I feel like Diablo 4 is just not going to be the game that it's meant to be until we get a couple expansions. Like just like
Yeah.
Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. Like though these games like don't really meet their like full bloom until like we have a couple expansions. So I kind of like want as much as I'm playing it right now, like part of me is just like, I want to play the Diablo 4 2 years from now.
Yeah. I've been playing too, and I just hit a level 100 on my seasonal character. Um, I like the loot changes a lot. I like the tempering, the masterworking. I like that they're this like there's less randomization because of the new system. Like if you get a roll better than your last one and you salvage that item, that new higher roll will save essentially. So you're always like saving your highest roll, which is very very nice. Like these are the things that they kind of should have had in the beginning, but it's good that they're bringing it in now. The seasonal content per se, like what's actually the seasonal like gimmick, is super lame. Basically non-existent. They called it a season, but in reality, it's like it was just like an update. There's no seasonal content. The content was the update to the loot system. And then you have this like seasonal vendor basically that gives you random caches of
For
garbage
reputation,
for
yeah.
reputation points in defeating like hell. What are they called? Hell
Helltide.
rises. Helltide. Thank you. Um, and so there's like no actual content in the season. It's just purely update, which I found is interesting. I'm really enjoying the updates that they had, but it felt like it kind of was like we didn't give me an opportunity to utilize those new updates in a fun and new way because I was just doing the same old shit that I was doing before in the beginning, where I was, running nightmare dungeons until I hit level 100, basically. And then after that, I was like, there's other things to do. They added this thing called the pit, and then there's like masterworking things. So if you really wanted to like be a min maxer and just get a really strong character, there are avenues to do that, but there's absolutely nowhere to flex that muscle. Which
Yeah, I mean, like that's kind of like that's where the game stands right now. There is nothing to do but min max your guy, and like that's fine, and that's kind of what it's always been about. But I agree with you. I want a PvP arena, or like a true arena, not like a random fuckfest, and like I just want other continents to go to. To be honest, I feel like that's the biggest thing missing. And like I understand they're putting their resources towards important things right now, and like it's good that they're making these changes, but I really like, to me, that big continent we start on still feels like an act 1 to me. And like I'm not like
yeah.
that's
We lost
dramatic.
Tyler. That's awesome.
Oh,
But or did we lose everybody?
No, we didn't. No, we're here.
hello?
We-
Check.
Oh, okay. Maybe
I was just
maybe
it blanked out.
bad signal.
That's Batman.
Batman came and fucked it up.
Just the end of my point being that I still wish we had more terrain to explore. So more like definitive quest lines or terrain to explore. I want more exploration in that game.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, and I was thinking about this. There's kind of two main things that are really holding me back from like loving this game, and it has nothing to do with even content. It's one, I still can't get over that the seasonal character just like goes away. That's just so stupid to me. Because I'm putting all this time in, and now I hit level 100, and I'm like, okay, now's the time where like if I was to continue with my character is really because I want to, not because I have any actual goals. It would just be to get better gear to beat like this Shadow of Lilith, and I have nothing pushing me to want to do that, and knowing that this character is essentially going to kind of like disappear later. I filled out the entire season pass, so I've already got all the season pass stuff. I just don't have anything else to do, so all this other stuff that they have for me just seems like this like just a bunch of crap. And then alongside that, the biggest part to me is that all the other Diablo games is the story and the mechanics were always very interweaved. They were always very tight. In this game, the story and the mechanics are completely separate. The story has absolutely nothing to do with the progression of your character beyond the campaign. And the campaign, I think one of the biggest mistakes that they did was allowing you to skip the campaign, first of all, for the seasonal content.
Yeah.
I think you should be able to do. I think you shouldn't be able to skip the campaign, but I think you should also maybe like the intro, but not. But you should still be able to do the seasonal content in parallel, because once like I create a new seasonal character, and then I skip the campaign, it's like I just jumped into this, like you were saying, this empty voided world of just bullshit that I'm gonna go and grind out.
And it makes me reflect on. I'm sorry, I do. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say is like none of the seasonal stuff or any of the side things or any of the nightmare dungeons. Like I don't give a shit about them because they're not linked to the story in any meaningful way. If they were like, oh, I don't know, just some thing would be like, oh, Mephisto or whatever, maybe Bale is coming out and trying to revenge, Mephisto, and you are defeating these nightmare dungeons in an effort to try and hold him back or something like that. That was an awful example, but you know what I mean? Like they needed to tie it some way to the narrative.
Like, instead, make us feel like we're progressing something.
Yeah, instead, it's like it's such a small thing and has like almost no impact to the game, but that little thing would make the intrinsic value so much stronger than just, hey, go do this thing to get points and get better. It's like, okay, I don't really give a shit. I gotta say
too, like, I feel like my favorite part of Diablo 4 is right at the end of the campaign when you go to Hell. And I love the way Hell looks. And I'm just like sitting here thinking like, dude, there's no Hell in this game. Like the game is called Diablo and there's no Diablo. I mean, there is, but like there's barely any Diablo and there's no Hell. Like we're not really like, I like the terrain in Diablo 4. I think it's beautiful, but like, I feel like there's, like, you just, it kind of like, it's not the same. Like I want to go to Hell more. I want to like fight Diablo and Bale and Mephisto and all. I want to fight these cool, crazy bosses more. The thing that was so great about Diablo 2 is like you were doing a speed run through the campaign, right? Like, and you could go slow or fast, but like you were, and that was part of the game. It's just running through the campaigns and unlocking things. And so now that we don't have the campaign as these like landmarks, it's just weird. You just create your character, you skip the campaign, and then you're like, time to go grind the same thing over and over again.
They literally could have just done this and it would have fixed like a lot of the complaints. I think is they literally could have just each torment level, like in the classic Diablo fashion, is you have to rebeat the campaign and then just have like 100 torment levels that scale so high that it would be fucking impossible for anybody to get in like 1,000 hours. You know what I mean? And people would go be like, how high? And then, add some gimmick every so often, some new thing or whatever. And people would eat that up. He'd be like, oh, what torment level are you on? I'm on, and this is how it used to be in like Diablo 3. You're like, oh shit, I'm on torment like 15 or whatever, and they're like, dang, it's like basically like New Game Plus, right? You're just getting harder and harder and harder.
But the jumps were big. Like the jumps are supposed to be big. And that was part of the fun.
Yeah. So a lot of and I agree with what you're saying with the expansion. I really hope this expansion comes in really hot with narrative because I want to play this game. Like I want it to be good. The environment, everything around the game is very well made. They just haven't given anybody
give us
reason.
More reasons to,
Yeah, they haven't given everyone a reason to actually play it. They're like, hey, we built this really cool framework of a game, but they haven't put any of the like oomph into it. And like I want
also more classes. I want more classes.
Well, then expansion's gonna have a new one, right? Spirit.
I wonder what it's gonna be.
Void Walker.
Oh, is that what it was?
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. But
anyway,
I mean, well, speaking of games like Diablo,
with seasons.
Yeah, I do want to talk about Destiny. So I am on the very final. I've been playing the new Destiny expansion, which is the final shape. And as a big Destiny fan who fluctuates back and forth on how much I love and hate Destiny, I'm really enjoying it. So, I mean, probably not a big shocker, though.
Why are you enjoying it?
Yeah, so in the expansion, in the beginning of a new expansion, they always have like a lot of really interesting new content. So I expect this by the end of this year for me to have like kind of, or the end maybe next year to be, totally over it. But as of right now, I like it a lot. The narrative, so the story that they are pushing now is the very end of the Light and Dark saga. So for years now, basically since even before Savathun. I don't know. Savathun was kind of the big bad for a long time, and then this character called the Witness came, and this is where we finally defeat him, and we defeat the darkness, and it's this looming, creature that's been there always, and so it's very cool to see the end of like literally years of playing this game come to fruition. So the story I think has been very good, and I like where it has gone, and the bad guy is very cool. One of the coolest bad guys. I'll actually be very interested to see where they go in the future, because they kind of did like you kill him. I haven't gotten there yet, but we kill him as a community, he's dead, and so it's like, what are they gonna do next? Right, that's this big question. But other than the story, they've made a few changes to the class that you have. So you no longer have like solar class, void class, whatever. You now have one class called prismatic, and you can mix and match all the classes together. So you could have like a solar grenade and a void melee. I mean, it's not like you can't use anything from anything. They have like a select subset of things you can kind of mix and match.
Just kind of like just like here's content, remixing existing content.
I mean, it's a little more complicated than I'm making it sound in a way, but it includes a new mechanic called Transcendence. So you have an addition to your super bar. You have a second, essentially like super bar that, but depending on if you use light or dark powers, it has two sides that come together in the middle, and you have to build them both up by using light and dark powers. And when it builds up, you can press a button and you transcend, and you become this you go Super Saiyan essentially, and you do more damage and you take more damage. And so you basically can go like Super Saiyan now, which is pretty cool, and pretty fun. So that's a nice little mechanic, and they fixed, just like little things here or there. I really like the seasonal content too that they're calling episodes, and which are now echoes. And it's this idea of like the Witness fractured the reality. So he is the accumulation of 1 billion souls in a single body, and it was basically like, because of this, he has the power to like change reality around him. And when we destroyed him, some of that like blew out, and so they have these things called echoes, which is like a pocket of distorted reality. So they can do a lot of really weird, fun things in it. But going through some of the content that I've been really enjoying, and I feel like it's, I don't know, not like it the opposite of Diablo, where like it is tied to the story in a way that makes me give a shit. And so I'll be grinding out, killing enemies, but in my mind it's like, oh, we're building up, we're trying to clear out this area in order to find a lost ghost or whatever it be. So it's pretty good. I do think though, in classic Destiny fashion, is what's going to happen is everyone's going to burn through the content for the year in like 2 months, and then everyone will be bored until the next content drop. One of the things with Destiny is their expansions are always really good, or usually really good, the actual expansion, but their seasonal content is iffy at best. So it's like they have a very strong beginning of the year, a very strong or beginning of the expansion year, and then the rest of it tapers. And so it's like, okay, season 1 of the year, you're like, all right, like this one's part of, I still like, riding the high of the expansion. Then season 2, you're like starting to trail, but you're still there. By season 3 and 4, you're kind of like, why am I here? Because a lot of the time the seasonal stuff isn't linked strongly enough to the story to give a shit about. It's usually kind of like a side story or something that is like very lightly linked, which I think is a mistake. I think they should do more, or I think they should have reserved a little bit of content from the expansion drop and do a mid-year drop, because I think that would really give a big spike. I think if they every 6 months did a major content drop of story, I think that would do a lot. But I'm a Destiny lover, so I can't help but get sucked back in every time. I can't do it.
Do you think they're gonna stop and do Destiny 3 after this, or?
A very good question. I bet they're still thinking about it. Because I honestly don't know. They had this like Destiny review upcoming event like a week ago or whatever, and it was very anticlimactic. They're like, 4 episodes are coming this year, and after that, it's a big question mark, and everyone's like,
who knows?
Why did you even have this? Like, we already knew literally all the information we already knew. So we're like,
that's weird.
We're like, I was either expecting the next saga or Destiny 3 question mark, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I would honestly like to see Destiny 3 even if it was just a reskin of Destiny 2 because I kind of am at this point where my character is so fucking overloaded and powerful that I kind of feel like I need a reset. Even if I could like import my character from Destiny 2.
Destiny 2 classic.
Yeah, and basically like I want them to be like, hey, like everyone's kind of like restarted at a flat game because if I jump in a game with you or somebody like that, like my gear is gonna trump your gear. Even if we're like at the same level, I have so many different combinations of weapons that I can use and like knowledge. It's just not
right.
even
There's
fair.
like a more of a fundamental difference.
Yeah, it's kind of like Anyways.
Well, no, I mean, I had to call out Dustin for his booing. Are you just hating on Destiny in general?
I mean, I've enjoyed it when I've played it, but I get very bored very quickly because I don't know, like as a WoW player or a former WoW player, like yes, like
recovering WoW player,
you redo the same dungeons and stuff, but I don't know, like there's just something about like the stuff in Destiny where it just felt so repetitive that it just made it so boring. Where it's I've already done this like 3 or 4 times, and like I said, yeah, you redo like the final, like the level 60 or max level dungeons over and over to get the best gear, but for some reason I never really got bored of doing those. Like I got bored of doing Destiny, but maybe because there's so much in between that you can do in WoW. Where in Destiny,
to me, it's like shooting is always shooting. It's like shoot, you go in, you shoot. Like going into a dungeon, I felt like there was more. Like you could be a healer, you could be the damage, you could be a tank. Like there's so many different angles. So that was why I don't know. For me, like RPGs always had a little bit of an edge on shooting because no matter what you do, you're still shooting.
You guys aren't doing the challenging content of Destiny.
I guess,
why.
Yeah, in the dungeons.
Well, then it's just bullet sponges or stupid jump puzzles. Oh, God, the jump puzzles.
No, it actually is more about loadouts. And if you do the raids, they're actually very puzzle intensive.
I've done them. Destiny 2 was my most played game on Steam last year.
What? Yeah. So you should know that the raids are more like the dungeons.
It was like puzzles. They're like 6-person puzzles is what the raids are.
Yeah.
With shooting.
And I've never done the raids, but obviously the raids in WoW are like very intense,
Not as intense as WoW, but they're good.
Yeah. But I guess it just feels too like it's not very engaging, the content in Destiny. Like the combat. Yeah, I would say. As a healer, like, you're constantly like doing stuff. As a tank, you're constantly damaging. Everyone has a role where like in Destiny it feels like, it's just just shoot. You're just shooting.
There are
no
it's
rules. Like I'm playing Call of Duty, I don't know. I've been burnt out on shooting lately, though, in general. But then I'll get it like back, and then I'll be like, I want to play a shooter, and I'll do it for a while, and then give up again. But speaking of that, should we close out our episode today talking about the Nintendo Direct that was dropped?
Well, we gotta do the
question time.
Our question.
Oh my God,
I forgot. a whole section.
Sorry.
We have some questions from Ralph. It says a girl listener as the username, but I know that's Ralph.
Girls don't exist. As one is in the frame of my shot.
It could be Katie, for all we know. You could ask her. Probably not. It could be Emily. I don't know. I'll have to ask her. But it's probably
What's
Ralph.
the question?
Hey, we've
the
got
question.
332 subscribers now. We could have a.
I know. I
It
know.
could not be Ralph.
That's
So
true.
let's treat them with
A girl
kindness
listener.
and respect.
I actually think it's probably Emily. Any comfy Switch game recommendation? Loved Animal Crossing. Very excited for the new one to come out, but didn't know if any of you have explored Fae Farm or others. Actually, that sounds like Katie to me.
I was about to say.
No, we haven't. I have not explored Fae Farm. Obviously Stardew Valley is a great recommendation, but I have a feeling if you love Animal Crossing, you've probably played Stardew Valley. But that's a good question. Let me think about Cozy. The Disney game came out like a year and a half ago or whatever. I heard it came out in a kind of a rough state, but I imagine by now it's probably decent. Decently.
It's a good recommendation if this isn't the person we think it is, who spent hours playing that game.
Is it what? Disney Animal?
No, it's Disney.
Dreamlight Valley.
Dreamlight. There you go.
I would also say, I don't know if I would consider this as much as a cozy game as Animal Crossing, but another like fun game that is kind of not too hardcore would probably be the Paper Mario game that just came out, Thousand Year Door, which is the remake of that game from the GameCube era. Fantastic game, like 10 out of 10 RPG. So that's a really good one to play. That is not very stressful because it's a Mario game. So even as an
but
RPG,
it's very engaging.
Yeah.
I have Fae Farm, but I've never played it. I got it for free because my buddy used to do PR for Phoenix Labs.
It looks cool.
So maybe I'll check it out, and then I can have
but
a
I'm
more
always
informed
Harvest
decision
Moon
tomorrow
64
or next week.
Harvest Moon 64 and Stardew Valley are my favorites.
Oh yeah, isn't there a new Pikmin coming out too?
Pikmin's another good one though.
Pikmin is a good one. They came out with the Pikmin 3 remake.
Remake.
It was a Wii U game.
Wow.
So I just pulled up this article, the 21 best cozy games for Switch. Number 1 is Stardew Valley, and then this game called Spiritfarer is second.
I know of it.
It's like on a boat fishing. Is the slide I'm seeing?
Yeah, it's like a artistic, artsy style game.
Yeah, A Short Hike is third. The new Pokemon Snap. If you're a Pokemon fan listener,
that's a great comfort game.
Unpacking, Cozy Grove, Life is Strange.
Unpacking is another really good one too. It's like fairly short, but it tells like a story while you unpack the belongings of this character.
What's the name of that game that we were looking with the coffee game that was announced at Summer Games Fest of the lady who had like PTSD? You know what I'm talking about? Oh, here, Wander Stop. That looks like a cozy game that's coming out soon. So that's the one where you play as like this ex-soldier that is now working at like a cozy coffee house, and you're like dealing with the trauma of your like wartime.
That sounds like some
tea.
Annapurna baby drowning in the
Sounds
tub.
crazy.
Shit.
Yeah, that game still haunted in my mind. But what amazing game! But that scene alone is like has given me nightmares. Like no joke.
Has it been worse since you had a kid?
Oh, 100 times.
100 times, right?
Worse.
Dude, that kind of shit hits so much harder when you're a fucking parent. It's just like not to get morbid as fuck, but like there was like that shooting last week at like a splash pad, and like a 4-year-old and a 9-year-old got shot, dude. And, like that kind of news just like it seriously fucks me up, like as a parent now. But all right, we don't have to dive into that. Let's just come back to gaming.
Yeah, okay. We got 2 more questions. These ones are definitely from Ralph. Mystery Stranger. Is there a type of genre of games that you just don't like? Sports, battle royale, survivor, etc.
Survivor games.
Platformers. I like platformers for sure. Sports games though, I couldn't give less fucks about a game than a sports game.
I love FIFA. Dude. FIFA is very fun.
I love racing games.
I like racing games if they're not just like pure racing. I like Burnout and like Need for Speed.
Those are arcades.
Yeah,
games.
I like an arcade racer. But
Yeah.
sports games for sure is my number one most.
I really
fucking
want to
hated.
like survival games though, but they're just so fucking boring to me. But like the coziness of like a survival game like seems so appealing because it's like just so relaxing. You're just like growing plants and shit. I don't know. I just haven't found one that like was very zen for me. It's
Yeah.
They're
too
not
much
supposed
like
to be zen. They're supposed to be heart like
We should make
pounding.
one. We need to make like a cozy multiplayer survival game that has a little bit of stake, but not enough that it matters. You know,
Survival, but you're totally fine.
what
you will
was that
die, but feel
game?
good about it.
Yeah.
Now, there's like a game though. It's like a camping like in a cabin. Um,
The
Firewatch.
Firewatch.
and it
Jinx.
looks very cozy, like chill game, and I cannot remember what it was.
Is it like a newly announced thing or what? Or an
It's
old
been a
game?
couple years.
Oh,
All right, next question.
next final question. Am I the only? I only have enough questions for maybe 2 to 3 more episodes. So everyone's got to start writing in, Greg.
Yeah, guys, Ralph has been carrying you
Ralph
on
has
his shoulders.
Asked about 40 questions, give or take. Actually, probably
God
a little
bless
less
you,
because
Ralph.
Uncle Patrick has also been doing that shit too. So less than 40 questions. But that's like God's work right there. All right,
Yeah.
last question.
He's
In
MVP.
games that have gear/equipment stats or with stats, do you care more about aesthetic or better stats? That's a good question.
Is it a multiplayer game or a single player game?
Let's
Wait, what was the question? I missed it.
within games that have gear and equipment with stats, do you care more about how they look or their stats? And to me, there's like a threshold.
I was
Where-
about to say it.
It's like, how far away from my current point am I? Right? If it's like a little bit better, then I won't do it.
I'm willing to tolerate. Yeah, like also for me, it's like if the upgrade looks way worse, I might not even consider it because it's taking away. If there's no transmogs, like let's assume there's no transmogs in the
Mhm.
game.
Yeah, I did that with like Cyberpunk a lot, where I was like wearing just like what I thought would look cool for the longest time, but the stats were awful.
That's a great example though of a game where they didn't have transmogs, so you looked like an idiot walking around with your statted.
Yeah,
Equipment.
which totally broke the vibe of the game, right? Like you're like
Totally.
totally lose your immersion. But
I
no,
only give a shit
aesthetics.
about stats until I get like in game, like and like WoW. Like I don't give a fuck. I just want to have my stats better. But then you obviously get to the raids where they have like AP gear sets that usually look pretty dope. So like that was dope because it's the best gear and it
Yeah,
looked
you
the
gotta get the
best.
set.
Yeah,
You know, but like leading up to that, I did not give a fuck what my character really looked like. I only cared about like having the best stats possible to like be the best.
yeah.
I feel like the younger I was, the more I cared about the looks. When I was like, I got my first shoulders in WoW, I would have like, I had an aneurysm. Like I was like, man, my guy looks so cool. I'm level 20.
the
I'm
big
the best.
shoulders.
You know,
Yeah.
like, oh my god, just any shoulders was an accomplishment at that time.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah, I think coming back to Destiny, I'm still mad. So like they have transmogs in Destiny and it looks really cool and they have like really cool outfits and stuff like that. But I'm mad because you have an exotic piece of gear and you have one exotic armor piece. That armor piece though, you can't transmog away to something different. So it'll totally fuck up your like look. You're like, I have this really cool look, but I have to wear this piece because it's part of my build, but it totally doesn't go with what I'm wearing. And I'm just so pissed off. I'm like, man, I wish I could transmog away these pieces to look how I want to look. And people online are like, this is such a debate in the Destiny community about this. And like people online are like, but then you couldn't tell if they're what type of build they have or what. It's like, who cares? It's a
you're
PvE
already
game.
past that.
Yeah, it's a PvE game. And if you're playing the game solely for PvP, which is something that Destiny or Bungie has barely supported over the years, then you're not like that is like a side thing. It is not the main part of the game. And I just don't care. Honestly, I want to look like the cool hunter that I want to look like. And some of the armor pieces have like you can buy alternative skins for them, but you only have like with real money, and then you might have like only 1 or 2 choices. So it's still not even that good. So I have a bone to pick with Destiny. I want that eventually. Let me transmog my damn exotics. All right, that's my rant. That was it for the questions. So before we dive in to our Nintendo Direct predictions, which you'll know are wrong at the time of listening, we really appreciate those who have followed and subscribed to us. Over 300 now on YouTube, which is absolutely amazing. Thank you all so much.
Huge.
We post new episodes every Tuesday morning on podcast services and YouTube. You can find us on Instagram, Threads, and YouTube at Pixelated Realms Podcast. So yeah, please give us a follow or a subscribe. We really, really appreciate it. And hopefully the audio quality is not garbage so we can justify said subscription. All right, so now let's talk about what do we think is going to come up in the Nintendo Direct Midsummer. So I'm going to
They already
Nintendo
said that there's
Direct.
not going to be a Switch 2 announcement. They literally put it out with their announcement. There's a Direct. It's there. It's like there will be no discussion of a next Switch.
Really?
But they could also be like, we said that because it's not called Switch. It's called, whatever.
The Swatch.
Yeah.
They probably would. I mean, the last
Gotcha.
one we had was in February, and it was a partner showcase. So it wasn't really like anything.
Nintendo.
It was them coming out, like, I'm looking at the list, it was like Grounded, which already existed. Return of World 2, The Fate of the Wasteland, like a bunch of just like whatever stuff. Headline. A couple of new, like, nothing. It's like honestly like nothing. So
I can't think of a single thing that like I would be anticipating, and I'm trying really hard. Like I can't think of anything. Maybe a Metroid. Maybe
Well, if they came out with Metroid 4, that would be a gangbuster. Imagine, because this is the end of the Switch's life cycle, and Metroid 4, if you remember, got canceled. Not canceled, sorry, restarted. So that was supposed to come out like years ago, but Nintendo said that the company that they had working on it, they said that they didn't like the quality of the game. Basically, they said it was shit, and they restarted the project from scratch. So if
probably
that
get
came
some
out,
more remakes for sure. Too.
oh, 100% though. That's like Nintendo's only like play at this point.
It's so sad that like nowadays, like Square Enix and then Nintendo and so many other companies are just like, I just had to remake my old games because we can't beat how good they were.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I cannot believe that the Switch has been out for 7+ years.
I know.
That's really
fucking
wild,
crazy.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel
I
like
still
it. It
feel
feels
like
like
I'm
it's
sitting here just like, oh yeah, I need to buy one of those. It hasn't been out that long. Like, I still have that mindset about the Nintendo Switch. Like, oh yeah, I should pick one of those up, because I need to do that.
that just shows the power of how good Switch was.
It was
guess.
so successful. Come on.
Do you think the Switch 2 is going to be a major departure from the Switch 1?
No. They would
Nobody
be stupid
does?
to do that.
But
doubt it.
think of Nintendo's past.
I know. I know Nintendo. I know them well. But like it needs to be more powerful. That's what they need. They need a more powerful Switch, and then they can be creative.
Never in their history, though, have they just come out with this console that is just more powerful.
It's true.
Think about when
It's
the
so
N64
true.
to the GameCube, like totally
I know.
different form
The
factor.
Wii
It's
to the
got
Wii U
CDs.
is very much that.
It had the controller with the center display. Like there was a.
I mean, the Wii U
enhancement.
controller is basically just the Switch, but like better.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we'll see. I don't think there's a lot of like hard predictions. I'd love to see Fire Emblem. I'd love to see.
Well, like what? Well, what, let's
know.
let's look at the deuce at the opposite direction, right? Like, what franchises have had games recently launch? Because if they did, we probably won't see another one. Super Mario had like a AAA like game last year, 2023. So we're not going to see Mario. We're not going to see Zelda, obviously.
People are expecting Super Mario Galaxy, like either remake or possibly another one. That's or maybe
I'd be shocked if they announced
Odyssey
it now.
2 would be
Because
crazy.
again, they're only 1 year out of launching the last one. Like, if they did launch it, it might be like, 2025 game, but like it won't be something we see this fall. There's no fucking way that we'll see like a premiere Mario title. Like, we could see like again like we just saw Paper Mario. We could see a remake, but not like a
We're probably
new
going to see
experience.
Pokemon Legends Z through A stuff, which should be pretty decent.
Yeah, we'll see that. Well, maybe Persona remake. I bet you they're gonna not remake. Yeah, one of the remakes because they've been
Persona.
remaking all of the Persona games.
Oh,
They give them all
Is
funny names.
Bayonetta a Switch game?
Yes,
yes.
so maybe a Bayonetta.
You would
I
think
don't
this
know.
would be a big, at least one big game will get announced because it is their June Direct. Like this is like competing against
Yeah.
like
The Games Fest
the
and everything.
Xbox and PlayStation announcements, PC announcements. So yeah, it's we should expect to see at least one pretty big game. We could see like a Zelda remake, like an older Zelda. Like I would like flip out if we saw like
Legend
a
of
Link to the
Zelda
Past
remake. Yeah.
like we saw with
Oh,
what was it?
was it Twilight Princess?
No, what was
Which
the
one?
fuck? What was the one they just remade like 4 or 5 years, like 4 years ago? It was like the one even before Link to the Past, or maybe it was Link to the Past.
No, it wasn't
Link to the Past is the Super Nintendo
Are
one.
you talking about? Yeah,
What
I
was
think it's Twilight
Adventures
Princess.
of Link.
Oh, you're talking about the 2.5D Game Boy one, right? Skyward Sword.
No, no.
Skyward Sword was one. Yeah.
I think it's Skyward
Link's
Sword.
Awakening wasn't that a remake? That was a
there's so
remake,
many
right?
Zelda games.
Oh yeah, that was probably the best Game Boy game.
Yeah, that was like the OG, like fucking old Zelda.
I don't know. Oh yeah, they did
No, that
they did a 2.5D Link's Awakening, and honestly, it looks really goofy.
Katie actually played through all that. Yeah.
It's like honestly, the art style of the old one is one of the reasons why I love that game.
Yeah, I personally, I like the 2D bits.
And so like turning it into this goofy 2.5D where it's just like kind of kills half the vibe for me. Which is sad because Link's Awakening is like one of the better like Zelda games. Like I remember having so much fun with that one. But I'd be down, dude, if they came out and did like a Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask bundle remake or something like that, I'd lose my shit. Like that's what I want. That's what I want to see, but I don't think it'll happen. Not the bundle, at least, but maybe like Ocarina of Time or something.
I think it'd be really cool to see like a Link to the Past be remade into like a new art style. Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time's not really that old. I mean, it is old, but
What are you talking about? It's like 20 years old.
yeah, that's true. I think
older
like
than-
Twilight
it's
Princess
like Final
and like
Fantasy
Majora's
VII.
Mask are still too new though. And there's older Zeldas.
What? No!
They're like
Anything older than
98,
20,
99.
anything from Nintendo 64 is not.
A Link to the
In
What
Past
I
is
mean
almost
is there are older,
30 years
great
old.
Zelda games that should be remade first. That's all
But
I
they've
mean.
already done a Link to the Past.
Oh, is that
And it's
that's the
on-
one we just talked about. I meant
I don't think we're gonna get like remakes. It's just gonna be like a like they did for the 3DS. Like they did a adaptation, remaster, whatever you want to call it.
because sorry, A Link to the Past was Super Nintendo originally. Then they brought it over to Game Boy. And then for
Yep.
Sword, was another one that was super good. And then the season,
Yeah, that was
one,
always on Game Boy.
yeah. And then the season one that had 2 games to it. That had like the fall version or whatever.
Well,
Like looking
anyway,
at
I'm
the
looking forward
chronolog-
to.
Yeah, looking at the order of this shit.
Well, we figure out the timeline of that.
I mean,
Well, I'll look forward to watching Nintendo Direct tomorrow.
seeing how
and
wrong
we'll
we are.
see what happens. Yeah. Are we going to announce anything about next week since we're going to be in another state?
Good question.
Are
I
you
will be
both
back.
not on next week?
Correct.
Yeah, so maybe we skip. We're doing this live, so
yeah.
Fuck
Oh,
it, we're doing
apologies.
it live.
fuck it, we're doing it live.
Yeah.
So maybe no episode next week. If
I don't think we should skip because we're going to be camping the weekend after. That's going to be very difficult. I don't think we should. So maybe
All right, we'll discuss
me,
this
me and
We'll do
Roy
a
will do it.
remote episode next week.
Yeah, we can discuss this off air, but just know we're not quite sure yet. Check social media for updates.
Fuck these guys. We're doing it.
All right.
Just Dustin.
All right. You guys got anything else?
No.
To close her up? All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Don't forget to follow or subscribe to be notified when we post new episodes. We post new episodes every Tuesday morning on podcast services and YouTube. You can also find us on Instagram, Threads, and YouTube at Pixelated Realms Podcast. Thank you very much. See y'all.
Bye-bye.